Computer components. We need to know about computer components because we have to deal with, as a DB, a database administrator, you need to provide the configuration of database server, and that configuration includes CPU requirements, memory disk, virtual memory. So you need to understand all this. So let's go to CPU. Now, what is CPU? CPU is the central processing unit on a computer. This basically does all the calculations and all the data. Whatever application runs, this is the place where it gets processed. Whatever we understand about process, the data processing is done here, and it gets interacted with the memory and other devices, all the devices, and does all the calculations. It has two units basically. One is arithmetic logic unit. It does all the mathematics of arithmetic activities like add and subtraction, and it deals with, as I said, binary values, returns binary values as well. Control unit is the unit that interacts with all the hardware, like any hardware communication, data exchange, like it will interact with memory, storage, any other devices or drivers you have. It interacts and does all the processing and then provides services. One thing is important, that what is register to remember. It's a small memory by CPU for temporarily storing data. On a CPU you will see registers, and this is nothing but when electricity goes to that register, it becomes 1, and then no electricity, some kind of signal it sends to represent 0 and 1 there. So that is a register. It has number of registers on CPU. So central processing unit. Next, hardware we have. Okay, so about CPU, one more important thing that we discussed. What is hertz? So cycle per second. So hertz is cycle per second, and that implies 1 second it takes to turn on and off the register. So it will go to 0 value and 1 value onto the register, and that is basically represents 1 hertz. And megahertz, 1 million hertz is megahertz. Means in 1 second it can turn on and off register 1 million times. So that is about megahertz. And gigahertz, you just multiply that with 1 million. This is the way you calculate mega, giga. So that is about megahertz, gigahertz, and hertz. Let's go to the next slide. Motherboard. It's a place where all the hardware, computer hardware, gets installed. It's basically nothing but a circuit board where you have CPU here. Here you can see CPU, and CPU gets installed. All the other driver, like let's say sound card or hard drive, everything gets installed here. Memory slot is there. Memory gets installed here. This is the memory slot you can see. So this is a place, this is mouse area where all the hardware gets installed, and that's called motherboard. So we learned 3 things. One is CPU, which goes here, and then memory, it goes here, and then all other hardwares that gets connected. So on a computer or server, motherboard is place circuit board where all the hardware gets installed. Now memory is a very important thing. Random access memory, that is called RAM. It's very fast, so it creates the magnetic field when electricity goes there, and all the data gets stored. Once the server is down, no data remains there, so it remains empty and cleared out. Now memory is a very expensive thing compared to hard drive. So hard drive data transaction speed is slower compared to memory, and what it does, whenever we saw in arithmetic here, so what it happens, whenever CPU works on data. So let's say we are working on some information about customer. So we want to process customer information. So first of all, it brings the data from the storage and puts it into memory. Now memory has a limitation. Let's say you have memory of 500 GB or 100 GB. So and it's full. Now where it will go, as I said, memory is faster, so whenever it works, it put the data on memory and then works. CPU works from the memory. Now if the data is not there, it will go back to page file, that is virtual memory, and on every server we configure the page file, that is whatever memory you have multiplied by 3 times. So you have 100 GB, so 300 GB will be page file, and that page file is located in hard drive, and you configure from operating system that this is the page file, and when memory space is full, the data goes to page file, and then it comes back back and forth with memory and hard drive, and once the task is done, all the informations are cleared out from memory and page file or virtual memory. So that is about virtual memory. So we can imagine a picture like this. This is a main memory that is there, and this is virtual memory on the right side, and it's getting swap in and swap out. Once memory is done with data, it goes back to virtual memory, and then next data comes. So this way it's like continuous. We don't need to do anything, it will be work on its own. So one more time, so CPU works with data, all the processing is done in CPU, and CPU, for example, as I said, customers information, it's working on customers information, processing customer information that is stored basically in hard drive. So from hard drive it gets loaded to memory, and if memory is full, it goes to page file, and then a page file is also a place in hard drive, but operating system treats it as like it copies the data, whatever is needed for the calculation, it deals on memory. If it doesn't have space, it goes to page file, and then it comes back to memory whenever the processing on memory data is done. It goes from memory to page file, and some new data it brings in. This is the way swap in and out, and once it's done, everything is cleared out from memory and page file. Okay, now data storage. There are 3 types of data storage. One is the direct storage attachment. On a computer you have a direct physical drive, like let's say for example this server, you can see a C drive is there. That is basically a direct storage. You can see because it's physically located on that server. But if any disk like this comes from another server for usage, and that is from SAN server, that will be called as SAN storage. So this is more expensive to have physically attached storage, that is called direct attached storage as well. The next thing we have NAS, which is another server that deals with all the disks for multiple servers. It allocates to multiple server from NAS location, and the price comparatively is cheaper than direct attached storage. And it can another advantage is you can expand the volume anytime. You don't need any downtime or anything. So that is another advantage, and it's connected with a fiber optics channel, and which is very fast. The third thing that we have is SAN. So sometimes we need some files we have in Excel that needs to be shared across the organization, within the organization, not for like public usage. So this kind of file that it's located on SAN NAS server. And NAS server is comparatively NAS is comparatively less expensive because the network cables are cheaper compared to much cheaper compared to SAN. So that is the main difference. NAS is less expensive. SAN is expensive because of fiber optics channel. Performance is higher in SAN and easily can be allocated and attached with the server and can be removed. Because like NAS can be located in far away location. Even sometimes not with the cable, using the network, you can have server somewhere else, and for file it's like small files, you can put it in there. But SAN has to be locally on that server location, otherwise space cannot be allocated. SAN is used for SQL Server databases. You put the databases on SAN if the database size is very big.